It's the last day of this trading week, and joining me in the studio now is Bernd Adam from Lloyds TSB Private Banking, who's here today to discuss the biotech industry as an investment opportunity. Bernd, thank you very much for coming into the studio today.
Thank you to express myself on the biotech industry.
Since 2005, the number of US-based biotech company startups has dropped by 30%. Given the economic climate, this is unsurprising, but has led to concerns over fewer maturing mid-cap biotech companies. With the US now enjoying an improved economic outlook, is this a long-term concern, do you think?
Actually, I think this is why it stops a little bit at 2005 to 2006. This is when we had the crisis in 2006, 7, 8, all this market went down. The financial to need new projects for financing the projects were down. So actually, this is a normal thing that since 5, 6 years the market was consolidating. Actually, it's a very costly operation, biotech. The more than $20 billion a year just for in research and development spending. So it's quite normal that we had a drop in investing or in research and development because there were no financing. And if you look at the Biotech Index, for instance, since 5 years, it went up quite sharply. And already this year, it went up 20%. Only this year, I think personally, the investment in biotech will pick up quite sharply because, as I said, a lot of patents they're running out. They need some new products. And there are a lot of companies around which are microcap, small cap. They don't have sufficient financial resources, and they need to go further with big companies.
Pharmaceutical deals totaled $18.5 billion globally this year, a 5% increase on the same period last year. Budget cuts mean that larger pharmaceutical companies have less money to place into research and therefore continue to look at smaller biotech firms. This means that they're able to place money into new products and new technologies that are already market approved. Are investors responsive to this? Do they look therefore to smaller companies, or are they more willing to remain with larger companies?
Actually, of course, this is a tricky question because smaller companies have a higher risk with a multiple reward. So it means that looking at smaller companies, which maybe get attracted by big ones, by big pharmaceutical companies, might be interested to invest in, but the problem is you can't put a lot of money in, because if they are not taken over, or if it's only a write-off of a big company, pharmaceutical said, okay, no, it doesn't interest us anymore. So you lose the whole money. You lose, it will get a penny stock. On the other hand, buying pharmaceutical companies which have a lot of cash, and you have to look at what the companies, what they look at. If a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they have a special sector which they're in, they have already blockbusters and they want to replace it. And if the patent's running out, you should look at the patents, how many patents there are, so they are more willing to buy smaller companies because the patent's running out. So they have to do something. To invest for a broader portfolio, I would invest in big companies first, to having the sector in, and then as a leverage, taking 2, 3 small companies. They might get taken over. Maybe you lose a little bit of money because it's like a sort of a warrant without expiry date. But the problem is you should take it as a leverage, because you can have multiple money on that, but you can lose everything. all industries can go down, but this particular industry, you have to look at it you have to do your homework, you have to do a lot of things, a lot of more studies on this sector.
Following you up there, just on the risk involved in investing in this industry, there have been numerous changes to the laws in the way that smaller biotech companies are run, making that leap from private to public companies that little bit longer and therefore impacting investor risk. Do we see this impacting investor risk appetite then? Is it a challenge or an opportunity or both?
I would say both. On the other hand, a challenge, and on the other hand, an opportunity. Why? I would say the challenge is for the companies, for the small caps, and the opportunities for the investors. So actually, in my opinion, we always have in the biotech sector a certain period of a few years or few months, certain period which no investment, a lot of products they're going dust, and nothing coming out. I mean, and then suddenly we have more and more things they coming out, and especially the FDA approval, the Federal Drug Administration in the States, which is quite tough. It's a bit tougher than 10 years ago. And actually, if you have an FDA approval, you can merchandise around the world. It's not the same thing if you have an approval maybe of India or even Europe. It maybe doesn't work. You can marketing the product in the US, and the US is the most important market in the biotech sector. So you have to have something which is approved by the US to get a big reward.
Bernd, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's all we've got time for right now. However, do please join us next week when we'll be joined in the studio by guests from Notstucky and Mirabu. For now though, goodbye and have a great weekend.